here with the Brain and Body Foundation, and a big thank you to Dr. Jacqueline King and the team at BWE for this privilege of being able to talk to you all, ladies, gentlemen around the world and around the country. So you're welcome to tonight's talk. The point is this for any of the cases. Listen, if you get cancer, you suspect you have cancer, and by the way, one of the things we'll talk about is being sure to check yourself in the mirror. You know what your breasts look like normally. You've looked at them, stared at them several times in the mirror over the years, so you know what they look like. Go over the procedure for examining each breast properly. There's certain signs. Sometimes there's pain, sometimes there's a dimple, sometimes if you raise your hand, you see it almost looks like a scar, like the skin is attached to something underneath. These are all subtle signs that you may have breast cancer. Do not be in denial. If you're trying to help trying to not to inconvenience your loved ones, hey, you're going to inconvenience them anyway. And if it becomes a more advanced stage, you're going to inconvenience them even more. And you may cause them to resent you for not having told them earlier, so they could have done something about it earlier. If you keep on living this city, say you believe in God. Hey, if you have cancer, if cancer manifests, something went wrong either in your healthy lifestyle or in your praying or you're believing for health. Don't kick yourself about it. It just means you got to go back to the drawing board, pick yourself up, and start doing the things that are necessary to regain your health. It doesn't mean that God has failed you. It doesn't mean that God is going to be upset with you if you seek medical attention. Please, for God's sake. And I think sometimes when we turn to belief, we talk about belief and faith in God, we do that to the exclusion of common sense. And it's very important, folks, and I'm going to be straight with you. It's very important that you take these things seriously. These things are affecting Black people. So as I said, it's really important that you take your breast health seriously. Let's talk about some statistics. You ready for this? All right, be ready for it. I'm not trying to scare you, but just to get you to be more aware. 1, Black women with breast cancer are more likely to die from their disease than their white counterparts. Okay? They are more likely to be diagnosed earlier in life than white women. Usually above the age of 40, you shouldn't be thinking about breast cancer, but they begin to see that not that begin, they've always seen that Black women tend to have breast cancer earlier. And then here's the kicker, ladies. Black women are more likely to be diagnosed with a more aggressive type of breast cancer called triple negative. Ooh, what does that mean? Well, it's a kind of cancer that is very aggressive, and it comes back even after treatments. It is twice as high in Black women than in white women. So Black women have more incidence of the triple negative form of breast cancer, and the treatment is chemotherapy. They found that surgery and the radiotherapy don't work as well as chemotherapy. All right, what else before we talk about what can be done? Let's talk about some of the risk factors for it. And again, please don't attack me. We're just going to state the facts. Some of the problems I've mentioned before. Black women tend not to be as serious about their health as white women do, as white women are. And yes, of course, there's the factor of the healthcare system not in our favor, Black people in general. There's that factor, they've proven it, that there tends to be systemic racism in the hospitals, and that is being addressed. There's also the factor that a lot of research, whether in cancer, cardiovascular disease, or other kinds of diseases, there's a lot of research that has been geared mainly towards the whites. They've not taken the Black people into account. Therefore, in terms of testing this drug or that treatment, they've not been able to. They've not taken into account the Black physiology, the Black biochemistry, how the Black person processes the treatment, how the Black person processes the disease, and it may manifest in different ways. So that is beginning to change. But like I've always said, you cannot just put that responsibility on the government and whomever is on your doctors, and then leave you and say that, well, it's all their fault. It's not all their fault. There is something that you need to do as well. So I'm always quick to talk about it, to talk about the fact that, yes, there is a problem with the system, which is being corrected, hopefully. But that is not the only problem. There's a lifestyle factor. There's also our genes as Black people that makes us more susceptible to certain things. And that's why we're talking on this platform, to address the lifestyle factor and to address the weaknesses that are caused by the genes. And that's not to say that white people don't have their own weaknesses. I can tell you that they do. And I've lived and worked in the United States for 10 years. So I've been able to compare and contrast both fields. So they do have their weaknesses. The difference is that they're talking about their weaknesses. They're enlightening their fellow people about their weaknesses. They're doing something about their weaknesses. I don't think we're being aggressive enough to talk about our own weaknesses as Black people. So it's very important that we address that. One of the biggest risk factors for breast cancer, obviously, is being overweight, being obese, having a lot of extra pounds and fat in the body. It's not just that fat makes you look big and sickly. It is also the fact that the excess fat in your body, seems to create an environment that is what is known as inflammatory. There's a lot more inflammation in the body, and that produces it's an environment that is suitable for the growth of cancer cells. Not just the growth of cancer cells, it also depresses the immune system. So the more obese you are, the less effective the immune system is. As a rule, the more obese you are, the less effective the immune system is. It also affects the brain and other things as well. But the most important thing we're talking about where cancer is concerned is the immune system. So weight is a problem. With Black women, Black people tend to have a greater propensity for being overweight. Part of it is because culturally, or mindset-wise, we don't have a culture as much as the white people of exercise on a regular basis, running out, being exposed to sunshine. I'm going to talk about that. I've always talked about vitamin D in the past. I'm going to talk about it more today. But exposing yourself to regular exercise for whatever reason is so important, very, very important.